Well, I might just leave Mike's last slide and use that. Okay. I'll use what I've prepared because the urge to build tall has been with us for thousands of years. Whether it's been for ceremonial purposes, for religious purposes, commemorative, the establishment of authority and status. Or indeed the necessities of industry. And many of these are now prized examples of our heritage of national and international status. And during the 20th century, we've come to recognise the historic importance of even taller buildings like the Trellick Tower, like the Post Office Tower, the Centre Point, and more recently the Lloyd's Building. But since then, the tendency has been to build ever higher by a significant order of magnitude. And there are inherent disadvantages in building tall, which are widely acknowledged. Firstly, that they're unsustainable. Sorry, I'm going to move a bit closer so you can read this. The materials and energy required to construct at increased height are extremely energy expensive, and of course then the energy to heat and cool and raise and lower people and things through the building requires large amounts of energy as well. I was in the Jingmao Tower a few years ago, and the manager told me that they circulate 10,000 tonnes of water an hour around the building. They are inefficient in terms of the cost of the circulation and the security necessary for tall buildings, and because of the space required for lifts, other circulation of other things, then the net gross floor space is smaller than it would be for a comparable lower building. They are generally inflexible. They're difficult to adapt because of their scale, and some suggestions are that some of them are at least maybe impossible to dismantle. They tend to be overbearing, both in terms of the shadow that they cast and the views and daylight that they block, and also the impact on the surrounding climate, surrounding microclimate, as sad stories from Leeds and from the city recently have pointed out. They tend to be massive at ground level. When you look at the way that the London Bridge Tower hits the ground, it's very uncomfortable, very unsympathetic to its surroundings. And of course they dominate the skyline. However beautiful they might be considered to be, they dominate the skyline for a very wide, over a very wide area. And they are exclusive by their nature. Because they're expensive buildings, they tend to be occupied by high-end users, and because of security and other reasons, public access is limited. However, we might be seduced by sky gardens and viewing platforms and rooftop restaurants and so on. So, given that, why do we build them? My suggestion is that it's largely novelty and vanity that justify the construction of them. Some people think that size is important, and that owners of new buildings want to demonstrate that they have tourists. See examples of that around the world. And of course now designers can pander to that desire. It's now possible to build just about anything, just about anywhere. This addiction to novelty also compounds the problem, because not only do you want to be tall, but you want to be different from the other tall building next to you. So you have to be different. And of course, the tools available to architects, CAD, materials technology, and so on, adds to the variety of building forms that can be created. And so, commissioners of buildings seek iconic status for their buildings. They want buildings that people will look at and recognise and define them by, but also buildings that fend off people. They need to be seen within a large space to strengthen that iconic status. Some people have suggested, including me on some occasions, that clustering buildings helps to mitigate that tendency for iconic, craving for iconic status. Actually, clustering of a wide variety of buildings, as we seem to be getting in the city in London now, leads to a sort of architectural indigestion, like being faced with a plate full of cream cakes of great variety. Indigestion almost, just looking at it. And of course there's a battle for supremacy, as we're beginning to see in Vauxhall now, with successive commissions of buildings seeking to ever exceed the heights that were originally agreed for the development area. And there seems to be a degree of catastrophic denial amongst those who are commissioning buildings, ignoring the potential for natural disasters, deliberate or accidental attack by humans or pathogens. So a number of reasons why they are inappropriate. But I want to finish with looking at some of the consequences of the over-intensification of development in urban areas that tall buildings encourages. Because there's no doubt that living in cities is exciting and stimulating for social animals like human beings, and it's possible that urbanists are the highest example of that. We thrive on the vitality and the variety of the activities that we find in great cities like London. But that's justified only up to the point where that can be sustained by the area that supports it. As we intensify, we become increasingly dependent on high energy, high cost support services, and we ultimately become parasitic, sucking resources from the surrounding areas. My final point is that vertical movement is sterile and single purpose. There's no opportunity to stop off halfway up the lift shaft and buy a coffee, a paper, a packet of cigarettes. There's only one way, there's only one route, and we're stuck with it. Street activity and accidental contact with people and other activities will decline as a result. And the final point, we're not designed for vertical movement, and our need and ability to navigate will atrophy in the same way that our spatial awareness is atrophying in the face of satellite navigation. So for all those reasons, I think that an overemphasis on tall buildings is to the detriment of human culture. Thank you.